From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update.
Hi, this is Kylie Conway, and this is your News 8 Daily 8 for Monday, March 21st. Today is the best weather day of the week. Lots of sunshine we'll have, with temperatures getting into the low 70s. The winds are going to pick up this afternoon, get a little breezy out there before some big changes for the rest of the week. The rain moves in starting tomorrow. Police find a man shot to death at a gas station. Officers say it happened on the east side near the corner of 38th Street and Franklin Road just before 3 o'clock this morning. We had our mobile news tracker on the scene very early, getting info from police. Officers say that they did find a man and a woman inside a crashed SUV. The man had been shot at least once and died at the hospital. The woman had minor injuries from the crash. Police had all lanes of 38th Street west of the Franklin Road intersection blocked for hours this morning. Right now, it's not clear where the shooting began. The search is on for 3 suspects. Police say shot and robbed a woman. It happened at the Turtle Creek Apartments on Harcourt Road just after midnight. IMPD says it all happened as the woman took her trash out. Police say the woman is stable at the hospital. And breaking international news, a jetliner crashed in China. China's state-run TV network reports it was a 737 with 132 people on board. It happened in the mountainous area of Guangzhou, not far from Hong Kong along China's southeast coast. The flight was from China Eastern, one of the country's major airlines. The company does fly the 737 MAX, which only recently returned to the skies after 2 major crashes. There's no word yet if that's the specific model that crashed today. And this morning, the Marine Corps is working to bring home the bodies of Marines killed during a NATO exercise. One was from Indiana. Captain Matthew Tomkowitz was from Fort Wayne. He served as an MV-22B Osprey pilot with Marine Medium Tilt Rotor Squadron 261. He was doing NATO training exercises in Norway Friday when the aircraft crashed. Captain Ross Reynolds, Gunnery Sergeant James Speedy, and Corporal Jacob Moore also died. The U.S. Marine Corps identified the officers yesterday. A Marine Corps spokesman said that the men's bodies were removed from the crash site. They're now being transported to the United States. U.S. Marine Infantry Officer Zach Oda from Hawaii tweeted in response to the crash saying, "Captain Tomkowitz was a candidate in our OCS company when I was a platoon commander. You never know where every Marine's path will take them, but I'm sure Captain Tomkowitz led with honor, courage, and commitment until the end. Fair winds and following seas." Governor Holcomb released a statement reading, "Janet and I send our sincere condolences to Captain Matthew Tomkowitz's family and friends, especially in the tough days ahead." Tomkowitz joined the Marine Corps in 2015. He received a National Defense Service Medal as well as a Medal for Global War on Terrorism service during his time. What caused the aircraft to crash is still under investigation. Norwegian police did report bad weather in the area. Officials say the NATO exercise was unrelated to the Russian war. People in an Eastside community are calling for changes after the hit and run that killed a 7-year-old boy while he was waiting for a school bus. His family is asking that the person who hit Savian Sanford turn him or herself in. We did bring you this breaking news of the hit and run Friday morning on Daybreak on Wish TV. It happened at the corner of Yorkshire Court and 21st Street on the east side of the city. Police say 2 people hit the child. The first, driving a light-colored car, left. The second driver stayed and talked to police. People did gather for a vigil for Savian Sanford Sunday. Some say there should be more signs warning people on 21st Street about the bus stop. Others want the stop moved away from 21st and into an apartment complex where people drive more slowly. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky issued his most fervent appeal yet. He's ready for ceasefire talks with Russia.
So I think that we have to use any format, any chance in order to have a possibility of negotiating, possibility of talking to Putin. But if these attempts fail, that would mean that this is a third world war.
Zelensky shared those words yesterday, saying Russian forces have come to exterminate the Ukrainians. This latest offer for talks comes after a Russian airstrike hit an art school in Mariupol. Zelensky says some 400 people took shelter there. It's not clear how many died. U.S. Defense Secretary says Russia is resorting to attacks on civilians because its invasion campaign has stalled. Now, President Joe Biden and other world leaders plan to hold a set of emergency summits in Europe this week. According to Biden's office, the president will leave Wednesday to meet with NATO allies, the European Council, and a group of G7 countries. Then he'll travel to Poland. The White House says he has no plans to visit Ukraine. Supreme Court confirmation hearings start for Ketanji Brown Jackson. If the Senate confirms her, Jackson would become the first black woman on the U.S. Supreme Court. President Biden nominated her to fill the seat of Justice Stephen Breyer when he retires this summer. Jackson clerked for Breyer after graduating from Harvard. Democrats are hoping to wrap up her confirmation before Congress takes its Easter recess. Today's hearing is scheduled to start at 11 o'clock this morning. Justice Clarence Thomas is in the hospital this morning. Doctors admitted him Friday, but the court did not release the news until Sunday. Thomas has been on the court since 1991 and is the longest-serving current justice. The court says Thomas has an infection and flu-like symptoms, but does not have COVID-19 and is improving. The Supreme Court is currently in session and has arguments scheduled today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. The Biden administration plans to declare Myanmar's military committed genocide. Myanmar security forces are accused of mass rapes, killings, and crimes against the Muslim population in 2017. Officials say Secretary of State Antony Blinken plans to make the announcement at an event at the U.S. Holocaust Memorial today. The State Department has already hit Myanmar's military-led government with multiple layers of sanctions. A jury convicts a former instructional aide at a central Indiana school district of seducing a student. The Hancock County prosecutor says the jury found 45-year-old Justin McCaw guilty on all counts. Those include attempted child seduction, stalking, and official misconduct. The case began in 2019. The prosecutor says a New Pal High School student reported McCaw for inviting her to his home to have sex and for driving past her home. McCaw is set to be sentenced on April 14th. In Washington County, Indiana, the National Weather Service says a tornado did touch down. The NWS confirms it happened Friday just outside of Salem. The service released an image of the tornado's path, and it showed it eventually moved into the city and traveled 5.5 miles with wind speeds of 105 miles per hour. Nobody was injured in the storm. And wildfires are scorching Texas. Authorities say 175 blazes have burned some 95,000 acres in the past week, and 23 are still burning. The largest is the Eastland Complex fire, which includes 7 fires in central Texas. That group of fires has burned 54,000 acres and at least 50 homes across 3 communities. 1 person has died. Firefighters say that they have it 30% contained. The weather may help to a degree soon. Forecasters expect storms to soak the region today. It's a mixed blessing because the system also carries a threat of flash flooding, large hail, and tornadoes. Police leaders in Indianapolis want the governor to veto the state's new rules that would allow carrying a handgun with no permit. Assistant Chief Chris Bailey is making a strong push against the measure. In an editorial, he writes, "This dangerous public policy will embolden those who are legally prohibited from possessing a gun to freely carry them on our streets." He goes on to say, "We owe it to our cops and, more importantly, our neighbors to be reasonable in the exercise of the Second Amendment." We did talk to Bailey on All Indiana Politics. Bailey says that he does not think crime will rise as a result of the bill, but does think it will be harder to track down people with illegal firearms. The Boilermakers are in the Sweet 16. They beat 6-seeded Texas last night to move closer toward a championship. News 8's Olivia Ray gives us all access from Milwaukee as Purdue prepares for its next matchup.
Philadelphia, here come the Boilers. Purdue is heading for a 4th trip to the Sweet 16 in their last 5 tournaments. They survive a Big 12 scare from a Texas team that held their All-American from scoring a single field goal in the first half. But the Boilers dance on because Jaden Ivey came in clutch when it mattered most, paired with a 22-point performance from Travion Williams, who was not ready to see his senior season end here in Milwaukee.
Come on! Just knowing what I've been through, with our seniors, I knew how much this meant to not just me, but them and our team. Obviously, losing last year, it all sticks with you. So, you live and you work hard for moments like this. Yeah, those are our 2 guys, our 2 stars. So, but I thought Jaden did a good job of making plays in the first half. They played him. Nobody's ever really guarded him like that all year. He was a little frustrated, but he stayed with it, and Travion did his thing. So, a little joy, a little relief, but. We know that next weekend is going to be just as tough or even tougher because the stakes are even higher.
There's always relief. there's always relief, and you just you enjoy it for a day, and then you just move on to your next opponent. But it's hard being good. When you get into the tournament, it's just really, really hard to win one game, let alone 2 games here. But we feel fortunate, and we just got to get back to practice and take a couple days off here and get ready for our game on Friday.
So it is Purdue versus the Peacocks in Philly up next. Matt Painter and company will meet Cinderella, the 15 seed of St. Peter's, who slayed both Kentucky and Murray State at Gainbridge Fieldhouse this week. The tiny school from Jersey City will stay close to home on the East Coast for a Friday Sweet 16 date with the Boilers. For now, reporting from Pfizer Forum, I'm Olivia Ray, Wish TV, wishtv.com, and follow us on Facebook.
Notre Dame's run for the national championship is over. The Fighting Irish took on Texas Tech yesterday with a trip to the Sweet 16 on the line. Texas Tech took control in the second half, leading to a 59-53 victory. Blake Wesley finished with 11 points for Notre Dame. In the women's tournament, 2 teams from Indiana can make it to the Sweet 16 today. Notre Dame beat UMass Saturday night to advance. The Irish are an underdog, a 5 seed playing a 4 seed. Oklahoma on the Sooners' home court. Oklahoma beat IUPUI in the first round. Tip-off is set for 6 o'clock tonight. And the IU women are favorites in their game tonight. The Hoosiers beat Charlotte Saturday to advance. Now they take on Princeton in a game that tips off at 8. And the team wants Assembly Hall to be loud. The school says all students can go to the game at Assembly Hall for free. And students who've already paid for a ticket can get a refund. The Pacers are looking to make it 3 in a row now. The Pacers beat Portland 129-98 yesterday. In style, the team is calling a late game moment the play of the year. You might have seen the highlight already. If not, Tyrese Halliburton got a loose ball, hurled it down court to Lance Stevenson, who does a quick behind-the-back assist to O'Shea Brissett, who does a double-handed reverse dunk and draws the foul and made his free throw after. Brissett led the team with 24 points. The Pacers will look to make it 3 in a row when they take on the Kings Wednesday night, tip-off 7 o'clock. A popular skin moisturizer is under recall for potentially containing dangerous bacteria. It's Jergens Ultra Healing Moisturizer. The FDA says some 3-ounce and 10-ounce bottles could be contaminated with a bacteria that can cause infections in people with weakened immune systems. The affected products have a lot code starting with the letters ZU. You can find the lot codes on the back or bottom of the bottles. Harvard researchers think medical marijuana may actually trigger substance abuse. The study published in Friday's JAMA Network Open looked at 269 people divided into 2 groups. One group received a medical marijuana card immediately, while the other had to wait. The study says the patients who received their card were 20% more likely to develop a disorder, meaning the marijuana wasn't treating their anxiety or depression. The Labrador Retriever ranks best in show on the American Kennel Club's latest list of the most popular dog breeds. Each year, the AKC uses its registration data to compile a list. In 2021, which was the year of the latest data that was used, the French Bulldog, Golden Retriever, German Shepherd, and Poodle rounded out the top 5. The dog registry says it's the first time the Poodle has been in the top 5 since 1997. This has been your News 8 Daily 8 for Wish TV. I'm Kylie Conway. Online at wishtv.com and follow us on Facebook when you search Wish TV.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update on demand. For even more, on demand and on the go. Connect with Wish TV on Facebook at wishtv.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening. And be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.